In this video we're going to find a quantity using a ratio and one part. So we're going to be given one part as in one amount of a ratio, and we're going to use the ratio itself to find the other amount and the total amount. So one example here, an amount was shared in the ratio of 10 to 1. The smaller share was 3. What was the total amount shared? So here 3 is the known amount, and that goes, because it's the smaller amount, that goes with the smaller part of the ratio, which is 1. So we need to find out what the 10 part's worth, as in how much stuff that 10 is worth, and then we add them together and find the total amount. Divide the known amount by the known part, as in the known amount is 3 and the known part that goes with it, because they're both the smaller ones, the known part is 1. Then we multiply the other part of the ratio by that number, which is the answer to part 1, or step 1 I should say really. Finally you add both the amounts together to find the total amount. No problem at all. So let's have a go. So the ratio was 10 to 1. So step 1 is divide the known amount by the known part. So this is what the ratio really is question mark amount of stuff to 3 amounts of stuff. So 3 is the known amount divided by 1, which is the known part. And no prizes for guessing that 3 divided by 1 is 3 in this question. Then part 2, multiply the other part of the ratio by that answer, as in 3, the orange 3 there. So 10 times 3 gives us 30. So the left hand side of the ratio now is worth 30 amounts of stuff. So the new ratio of amounts really is 30 to 3, or the same stuff was shared into a group of 30 and a group of 3, which is basically the same ratio as 10 to 1, because they've both been multiplied by 3 and scaled up. So whereas the original ratio itself was 10 to 1, the amount of stuff that related to was 30 and 3. So to find the total amount, which some questions ask you, you just add the two amounts of stuff. 30 plus 3 is 33. And that's job done for that one. So here's another question. An amount was shared in the ratio of 26 to 13. So that's 26 parts to 13 parts. But as of yet, we don't know what either of those parts relate to in terms of an amount of stuff. But the question says the smaller share is 455. And it asks, what is the largest share worth? And therefore, what is the total amount of stuff? Well, 13 is the smaller amount of parts, so that goes with the 455, which is the smaller share of stuff. As usual, part 1, so divide the known amount by the ratio parts that it went with, so smaller with smaller or larger with larger. In this case we've got 455 is the smaller share, so that relates to 13 parts, which is the smaller part of the ratio, and that equals 35. Step 2, we need to multiply the other part of the ratio by 35, so 26 times 35 is 910. So now the ratio really looks like 910 to 455 if we wrote it out differently. So that is part A done. We've got the largest share, which is 910's worth of whatever the stuff is. So the new ratio of stuff, like I said, is 455 to 910. They've both been multiplied by 35 to get to those bigger numbers. Part 3, what is the total amount of stuff? Well, it must be the smaller share added to the larger share. So that's 455 plus 910, and that's 1365, or as I should really say, 1365. Another question then, always the same method. An amount was shared in the ratio of 16 to 29. No problems there. The larger share was 1174.5. Well, that looks horrible, but it doesn't matter because we use the same method every time. So if the larger share is that amount, that relates to the larger part of the ratio, which is 29. The question's telling us find the total amount shared. Okay, we will do. So step 1 is divide the known amount by the known part. So 1174.5 divided by 29. Don't do it in your head. And that equals 40.5. So then we need to multiply the other side of the ratio by 40.5 to make it fair. So step 2 is 16 times 40.5, which is equal to 648. So the total amount of stuff that was shared is 648, as in the smaller amount, plus 1174.5, which was the larger amount. And that is equal to 1822.5. So really the new ratio looks like the original ratio multiplied by 40.5 on both sides. So it's 648 to 1174.5 if you wanted to write out a new ratio. So 1822.5 was shared as a 16 to 29 ratio, and that relates to this amount of stuff, 648 to 1174.5 of stuff. As long as you always go back to the method, divide the known amount of stuff by the known parts of the ratio, as in one side of the ratio that you know, then you multiply the other side by the number you just worked out to make it fair. And then if it asks you to find the amount of stuff for the other side, you do that. If it asks you to find a total amount, then you just add the two amounts together. Job done. So good luck and happy ratioing.